All right, so let's be honest. Uh, Diving into marketing procurement can feel a little overwhelming sometimes,
Yeah, it's a
like
lot.
trying to solve a really complicated puzzle.
Exactly.
But we're here to help you make sense of it all.
Right.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the bidding process,
Okay.
and we've got a fantastic guide to help us along the way.
Great.
It's an article from Procure for Marketing called The Bidding Process, a step-by-step guide.
Sounds comprehensive.
It is. And whether you're a marketing pro or you're a supplier hoping to land those big deals,
Mm-hmm.
understanding this process is crucial.
It really is.
It's like having a secret weapon in your arsenal.
Yeah. It gives you an edge.
So let's jump right into the first crucial step,
Okay.
needs identification.
Right. The foundation.
It might sound basic, but trust me, this is where the magic happens.
It really is the starting point.
This is where you lay the groundwork for the entire project.
Like building a house, you need a blueprint.
Exactly. You wouldn't just start throwing bricks around.
You need a plan.
So in this case, your needs identification is like creating that blueprint for your marketing project.
It's about figuring out exactly what you need and why.
So it's more than just saying, hey, we need a new website.
Way more. It's about understanding the why behind that need.
Okay, give me an example.
Sure. Let's say your website traffic has plummeted.
Oh, no.
Right? It's a problem.
Yeah.
So you might think, okay, we need a new website.
Yeah, shiny new one.
But hold on. Is it really a design issue?
Good point.
Maybe the content is outdated. Or maybe you're not targeting the right audience.
You're targeting your grandma when you should be targeting her grandkids.
Exactly. You need to get to the root of the problem first.
Okay, so dig deep.
Exactly. And the article highlights the importance of involving stakeholders.
Not just the marketing team, right?
Right. It's about getting different perspectives.
So, like, who should be involved?
Well, definitely the marketing team, of course.
Of course.
But also sales leadership, even key customers.
Customers, interesting.
Yeah, they can provide invaluable insight.
I guess they're the ones actually using your products or services.
Exactly. They can tell you what they like, what they don't like.
What's working, what's not.
Right. And their feedback can help you refine your needs and make sure they're aligned with your business goals.
So it's all about getting everyone on the same page.
And making sure you're truly meeting those customer needs.
Okay, so once you've gathered all this intel, you've really pinpointed those needs, what's next?
Then comes the fun part, creating the bid document.
The infamous RFP.
Or IFB, invitation for bid.
Right, the document that lays out all the details of the project.
It's your chance to translate those identified needs into a clear roadmap for potential suppliers.
Okay, so it's like a treasure map,
Exactly. It guides suppliers to the hidden treasure.
which is a successful project.
Precisely.
But I've heard horror stories about RFPs being super dense and confusing.
Oh yeah, they can get out of hand.
So what are some tips for making sure yours is clear and easy to understand?
Well, first and foremost, clarity is king.
Like crystal clear.
Exactly. You want to avoid any ambiguity.
No room for interpretation.
Right. You need to be super specific about everything.
So like what kind of details should be included?
Let's think of it like writing a recipe.
Okay, I'm listening.
You wouldn't just say add some spices. You'd specify the type and amount of each spice.
Yeah, you want to make sure the dish turns out right.
Exactly. And it's the same with your RFP.
Okay, so be precise.
Yes, be precise about your scope of work, your desired outcomes, timelines, specifications, everything.
So no vague language or industry jargon.
Nope. Spell everything out clearly.
I can see how that would prevent misunderstandings.
It definitely can. The article actually gives a great example.
Oh, tell me.
So this company included a requirement for social media engagement in their RFP,
Okay, sounds straightforward enough.
but it was actually very vaguely worded.
Oh, no.
And as a result, they received wildly different interpretations from suppliers.
Like what?
One supplier focused on likes and shares.
Okay, the vanity metrics.
Exactly. While another proposed a complex influencer marketing campaign.
Oh, wow, totally different approaches.
Right. And it just caused a lot of confusion and wasted time.
So being specific can really save you from a major headache.
It really can. And the article goes even further.
Oh, really?
It suggests incorporating visuals into your RFP.
Like pictures and diagrams.
Exactly. Things like mock-ups or flowcharts.
That's a great idea.
It can really help suppliers understand your vision.
A picture's worth 1,000 words, right?
Exactly. And it makes your RFP more engaging and easier to digest.
So you're not just presenting information, you're telling a story.
Exactly. And a compelling story can attract the best talent to your project.
Okay, so you've got this beautifully crafted RFP that's clear, concise, and even visually appealing.
It's a work of art.
Now, how do you get it into the hands of the right suppliers?
That's where announcing the bid comes in.
Like sending out a bat signal?
Sort of, but more strategic.
Okay, tell me more.
It's about casting a wide net, but also targeting specific suppliers who you think would be a good fit.
So you're not just randomly throwing it out there.
Nope, you want to make sure it reaches the right people.
So where do you start? Are we talking LinkedIn posts, email blasts, carrier pigeons?
Hopefully not carrier pigeons, although that would be creative.
Maybe a little too old school.
Right, but the article highlights several channels you can use.
Fill me in.
Well, you've got your procurement portals, which are great for reaching a broad audience.
Oh, cast a wide net.
Then there are direct emails to suppliers you've pre-qualified or worked with before.
More targeted approach.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of networking.
Oh, yeah, face-to-face interactions.
Right. Attending industry events or conferences can be a great way to connect with potential suppliers.
So it's like a combination of fishing with a net and going after specific fish, are biting.
I like that analogy, and those personal relationships can be really valuable.
Makes sense. Okay, so you've announced the bid, the RFQ's out there, and hopefully those inboxes are getting flooded with responses.
Fingers crossed.
What happens next?
This is where suppliers get to shine.
Share time.
Exactly. They'll be crafting their bids, outlining their proposed approach, their pricing, and what makes them stand out.
So it's like a talent show where they're showcasing their best moves.
I like that analogy, but it takes more than just flashy presentations to win this competition.
What else are buyers looking for?
Substance over style.
They want to see the real deal.
Exactly. They want to see a clear understanding of their needs, a well-thought-out methodology, and a realistic budget.
So suppliers need to prove they can actually deliver the goods.
Absolutely. And the article highlights the importance of tailoring your bid to the specific project.
So no generic proposals or copy and paste responses?
Definitely not. Think of it like applying for a job.
Okay, I'm with you.
You wouldn't send the same generic cover letter to every company, right?
No way you'd tailor it to the specific role.
Exactly. And it's the same with your bid. You need to show the buyer that you've done your homework.
You understand their needs.
And you're not just throwing something at the wall to see what sticks.
It's about putting in the effort and showing that you're genuinely interested in the project.
Right, you're invested.
Okay, so suppliers have submitted their carefully crafted bids, showcasing their expertise and demonstrating their understanding of the project.
The pressure is on.
Now it's up to the buyer to sift through these responses and make a decision.
That's right. The next stage is all about bid evaluation.
Sounds intense.
It can be. The buyer needs to carefully scrutinize each proposal.
Like a detective examining clues?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're looking for any red flags,
Yeah.
any inconsistencies, and of course they're comparing the bids against their needs and their budget.
So what are some of the key things they're looking for during this evaluation process?
Well, cost is certainly a factor.
Got to stay within budget.
Right, but it's not always the deciding factor.
There's more to it than just the bottom line.
Exactly. They're looking at the bigger picture.
Like what?
Things like the suppliers experience the quality of their proposed plan, their understanding of the project's goals.
So it's a holistic assessment.
Precisely. And they're also looking at something called cultural fit.
Cultural fit. Interesting. Why is that important?
Well, think about it. You're going to be working closely with this supplier potentially for a long time.
Oh, yeah, it's a partnership.
Right. And if your values and communication styles clash, it can lead to friction and ultimately impact the project's success.
Makes sense. You want to make sure you can work together effectively.
Exactly. It's about finding a partner who understands your vision and shares your commitment to excellence.
Okay, so the buyer has this checklist of criteria, and they're meticulously evaluating each bid.
They're doing their due diligence.
But how do they actually weigh those different factors? Is there a secret formula?
No secret formula, but there are frameworks and methodologies they can use.
Like what?
One common approach is to assign weights to each criterion based on its relative importance.
So if quality is more important than cost, then quality would get a higher weight.
Exactly. It helps them make more objective decisions.
So it's not just based on gut feeling.
Nope, it's a data-driven process.
Okay, so they've analyzed the bids, crunched the numbers, and hopefully a clear frontrunner has emerged.
The winner takes all.
What happens next?
That's where things get really interesting. It's time for the supplier selection.
The moment of truth.
Exactly. The buyer gets to choose their partner for this procurement dance.
And we'll dive into that exciting stage in the next part of our deep dive, so don't go anywhere.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the bidding process. We're really getting into the nitty-gritty now.
Yeah, peeling back those layers.
Before the break, we were talking about the buyer meticulously evaluating those supplier bids.
Making sure they choose the right partner.
It's a big decision.
There's a lot of factors to consider.
So what are some things buyers should be really paying close attention to during this deep dive into the bids?
Well, one thing that really stands out in the article is looking beyond those flashy presentations.
Ah, so it's not about who has the slickest slideshow.
Not necessarily. It's about digging deeper, looking at the substance of the proposal.
So, like, what kind of substance are we talking about?
Well, you want to understand the supplier's methodology.
How they approach problems.
Exactly. Their problem-solving skills
Yes.
and also their track record of actually delivering results.
So past performance is important.
It's one thing for a supplier to say they're great,
Talk the talk.
right, but can they walk the walk? You want to see evidence.
Proof in the pudding.
Exactly. And that's where case studies and testimonials come in.
Ah, yes, the social proof.
All right, case studies show you how the supplier has handled similar challenges in the past.
Real-world examples.
And testimonials give you insights into their communication style, how they work with clients.
It's like getting a glimpse behind the curtain.
Exactly.
Wow.
You can see if their values align with yours, if they'd be a good fit.
So you're not just evaluating their technical skills, you're also assessing their personality.
Their cultural fit, that's important for a long-term partnership.
Makes sense. Okay, so beyond looking at past performance, buyers also need to think about the future.
Right. Can this supplier handle the specific needs of this project?
So it's about making sure their expertise is a match for what you need.
Exactly. Let's say your project involves developing a mobile app.
Okay.
You want to make sure the supplier has experience building successful apps.
Not just websites or brochures.
Right. They need to have the right skills and experience for this particular project.
It's about finding a specialist, not a generalist.
Precisely. And this is where staying up to date on industry trends is crucial.
Knowing what's hot and what's not.
Exactly. For example, if your project involves using artificial intelligence or machine learning,
The buzzwords of the moment.
you want to make sure the supplier has expertise in those areas.
So they're not just keeping up with the times, they're ahead of the curve.
Exactly. That can give you a competitive edge.
Okay, so we've talked about expertise, we talked about experience. Now, what about risk?
Oh yeah, risk is a big one.
What kind of risks are we talking about here?
Well, there's financial risk for starters,
Meaning,
making sure the supplier is financially stable.
you don't want them going bankrupt in the middle of your project.
Exactly. Then there's performance risk.
Will they actually deliver what they promised?
Right, and then there's reputational risk.
Yes, you don't want to be associated with a supplier who has a bad reputation.
Exactly. It could damage your brand.
So how do buyers actually assess all these risks? Do they have a crystal ball?
No crystal ball,
Okay.
but they do have tools and techniques.
Like what?
Well, they might conduct background checks on the supplier, review their financial statements.
Doing their due diligence.
Exactly. And they might also ask for references from previous clients.
Talk to people who've actually worked with them.
Right. Get firsthand insights. And of course, a well-crafted contract can help mitigate some of those risks.
The legal safety net?
Exactly. It outlines the terms of the agreement, protects both parties.
But beyond the legal stuff, what else can buyers do to minimize risk?
Communication is key.
Open and honest dialogue.
Exactly. Setting clear expectations, addressing potential challenges before they become major problems.
So regular check-ins, progress reports, that kind of thing.
Right. It's all about staying in sync, working together as partners.
Like any good relationship, communication is key.
Exactly. And this brings us to another important point, having an exit strategy.
An exit strategy, why is that important?
Well, as much as we'd like to believe, every partnership is perfect.
Fairy tales don't always come true.
Right. Sometimes things just don't work out.
So you need to have a plan B.
Exactly what happens if the relationship needs to end.
Due to unforeseen circumstances or poor performance?
Right. You need to know how to handle that situation.
So it's like a prenuptial agreement for your procurement partnership.
In a way, yes. It protects both parties and minimizes disruption if things go wrong.
Okay, so the buyer has carefully evaluated each bid, assessed those risks, and hopefully identified a supplier who ticks all the boxes.
The chosen one.
The winner of the procurement Hunger Game.
Right now, it's time for the big reveal, the supplier selection.
And we'll find out who that lucky supplier is in the final part of our deep dive, so stay tuned. All right, we're back for the final act of our procurement drama. It's decision time.
The moment we've all been waiting for,
Drumroll, please.
the supplier selection.
But before we get to the big reveal, we need to talk about something super important.
Okay.
Transparency.
Ah, yes, making sure the process is fair and everyone feels respected.
Exactly, because remember, this isn't just about finding the best supplier.
It's also about building relationships.
Right, even with the suppliers who don't get selected for this particular project.
Exactly. You never know when your paths might cross again.
Plus, it's just good business practice.
It is. So the article suggests providing feedback to all the suppliers who participated.
So they know why they were chosen or not chosen.
Right, give them some insights into the decision-making process.
It can help them improve their bids for next time.
Exactly, it shows that you value their time and effort.
Okay, so the chosen supplier has been notified. Everyone's happy. Now it's time to make it official.
Time for the contract.
Yes. The legally binding agreement that seals the deal.
The handshake that sets the stage for a successful partnership.
We've joked about it being like a prenup.
But it's really important.
It is. It protects both parties, outlines the expectations.
Make sure everyone's on the same page.
So what are some key elements that make a procurement contract truly rock solid?
Well, first and foremost, it needs to clearly articulate the scope of work.
So no room for ambiguity.
Exactly. Everyone needs to be crystal clear about who's responsible for what.
Okay, what else?
The timeline, obviously.
To keep things moving.
Right. Establishing those key milestones and deadlines.
Make sure the project stays on track.
Exactly. And, of course, the financial arrangement.
The money talk.
Right. Specifying the payment terms, when invoices will be submitted, when payments will be made.
Got to keep that cash flow flowing.
But a really great contract goes beyond just the basics.
It anticipates potential challenges.
Exactly. Things like performance issues, unexpected delays, scope creep, even those what-if scenarios.
So it's like having a backup plan.
Precisely. For example, the contract might include a clause outlining how disputes will be resolved.
So if things get heated, there's a process in place.
Right. And it might also outline the process for handling change requests.
Because things change.
They always do, so you need to be prepared to adapt.
While still staying true to the project's goals.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between flexibility and accountability.
So the contract is like a roadmap that guides the partnership.
Helps everyone navigate those inevitable twists and turns along the way.
And speaking of partnerships, let's circle back to that idea, a cultural fit.
Ah, yes. The intangible but crucial element.
It's about more than just technical skills.
It's about finding a partner who shares your values, your vision, your way of working.
Who you can actually collaborate with effectively.
Exactly. It's about building a relationship that's mutually beneficial.
A true partnership.
Where both parties can learn and grow and achieve great things together.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the bidding process, let's leave our listeners with this final thought.
I'm listening.
This process, it's not just about ticking boxes and signing contracts.
It's about something bigger.
It's about building connections, finding the right partners.
Collaborating to create amazing work.
It's about making magic happen.
And having some fun along the way.
Exactly. So go forth and bid wisely, my friends.
Until next time, happy procuring.
Good.